select it.
Great.
How's everybody? You good? I'd like to welcome everybody here today.
Are you the official stand-up?
Introduce you to the Opportunity Party.
Yeah, they start.
Oh,
How long is it going to be for? I was wondering how long it would be before somebody would mention that.
That's going to be the first
got there.
bill passed.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's a perfect day. All the lines.
We were worried it was going to be very wet,
Mostly.
but it's not. It's great.
I could tell some stories, but I won't.
I'll leave them talk.
Yeah, because of just like
That's right. Correct.
But we did
Put it up here today.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could have. Lovely.
that was good.
You just take the Dutchie.
Just the whole full fight.
Yeah.
So you all know each other.
We're all looking good.
Am I going to be in anyone's
Welcome. Hello. Maybe if you come this side. Yeah, because people can't get cutaways.
Oh, okay.
I don't want you to be. You could if you wanted to.
I've got a rubber band on your thingy. Can I just put this on there?
Yeah.
Right. Make sure it's on auto gain then. Yep.
Oh, here comes Gareth.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Morning, guys.
Everyone's happy, are they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
I assume everyone that's going to be here is here. Oh, hang on.
All set? Okay. Morning. Well, it's a pretty exciting day for me today, this entering politics. So the name of the party you probably already know is Opportunities Party, or TOP I suppose for short. And let me just explain how it's come about. I think that New Zealand's really not fulfilling its potential on a number of fronts actually. I think the country's got a lot of potential, and I sort of see things like the level of inequality that we've got, and I'm pretty unhappy about that. I think we can do stuff about that. Obviously poverty. The poverty numbers I think are too high, and this latest in this saga is the the falling affordability of housing, which has sort of got to the point now where, you know, I would have to have doubts if this continues that my grandkids would be able to rent, let alone bloody own a house. So I think there's a lot of stuff we can do here, and I think, you know, if you're coming at it from a policy point of view, I don't actually think it's that hard. I think based on the sort of evidence-based stuff that I've worked on my whole career, this stuff should have been solved. So then you ask the question, well, why hasn't it? And I think the issue primarily is establishment politics and career establishment parties and career politicians. My problem with them is that they give priority to no change. They do not like disturbing voters. They feel, I feel that they look at their career prospects above all else. They act much as trustees do really in the financial sector, which means that they don't take appropriate risks. And obviously as a result of that we don't get the level of returns that we should. So I think we can make a difference in this area. So, you know, it's nearly Guy Fawkes Day, I guess, so I'm here to sort of light a fuse under this place, really, is my sort of feeling. What I want to see us do is nudge, push, shove the establishment parties, whoever the government is, to making a real difference on the prospects for New Zealanders. So that I feel that a fair society is one that will gain far more prosperity overall. So that's what we're here to do. Obviously we're starting today from ground zero, so we've got a bit of work in front of us. Our first priority is to get our policies out. I've got them. So for the next couple of months we'll spend time doing that. The first one will be released on December the 8th. So, and then the last one, because we've only got half a dozen or so that I think will make a big difference, will come at the end of January, beginning of Feb. And then we'll have a dialogue with the New Zealand public, and if they like it, they'll back us. If they don't, they'll shove us, won't they? I mean, that's pretty clear. And if we've got enough backing by, say, March, then we'll obviously register and we'll go for the doctor on this. So that's it really. That's all I've got to say today. And I guess the next episode from us will be December the 8th. So open to questions.
How much of your own money will you be putting into the party?
Well, I thought about that this morning, you know, when I was sort of walking across the car park to work. And I thought, you know, isn't it bloody disgusting that we spend all this money on political campaigns? You know, I can get a far better return on that money by spending it on people who need it. So my task, my objective here will be to spend as little as possible. Now we've all got a cap, all these parties have a cap on what they're allowed to spend. I'd rather see that money go to charity actually, to be spent on this nonsense. But, you know, given that, if I have to spend it, I'll spend it.
Do you expect though that the party will be largely self-funded by yourself?
Oh yeah, well I mean we opened this morning to members, and to be a financial, you've got to have financial members, right? That's the way these things work, to register with the electoral office. So I've set the fee at $20, but if we don't register I'll give it all back to whoever's, you know, prepared to give this a go. But at the end I would expect to be you know, a major part of whatever funding we do, absolutely. I don't think funding's an issue.
Are you going to stand in a seat, or is this a list only?
No, I really want it to be a list only party, and the reason I say that is I only want to come in here if I can make a difference. I'm not interested in making up the numbers. I do have other things I can be doing and enjoying. So the way to do that, I feel, is to stand only on the list. So that means you get 5 or 6 MPs. Then of course you do still take a risk. You still might not have influence. Just go and talk to Winston in terms of his current position. So that's no guarantee. But the problem with going for an electorate is I might be here by myself and I'd rather be somewhere else, thanks.
So I mean, getting to that 4% threshold in less than a year is an impossible task, some would say. Do you think it's...
What do you mean? Yeah. It is a big task, but that's up to New Zealanders. I mean, we'll be pretty transparent about this. This policy thing will all be out in the next couple of months, and then you can either say yeah or you can rubbish it. And whatever you do, we will follow.
Do you think this could actually hurt the left?
Well, I sort of start with a philosophy that you need fairness in a society. And if you have fairness, then you get more prosperity. The two go together. There's a lot of work being done on this by the OECD and so on around the world that shows that if you allow inequality to get beyond certain thresholds, then it does actually impede not just the material incomes of people, but the well-being of people. And so to me the two go together. So, you know, this left-right thing is always, you know, the right, oh, we're just going for growth and, you know, let trickle down work, assumption, right? And the left say, oh, that's disgusting. We've actually got to get everybody, you know, an equal suck of the sad first before we can do anything. Well, I don't see those as opposites. I think you need both, and that's what this is about.
Are you worried though that you could end up as a somewhat polarising figure playing the same role next year that Kim.com did in 2014?
I've always been polarising, so I don't find that as new territory. Kim.com, I think of something better. How about Trump? Whatever. No, I mean, we just stand on our own merits. you know, and you got, you know, the people in New Zealand will decide whether they want to back us to have a go at this or not.
So do you see yourself as the New Zealand version of Donald Trump?
No, well, you've got to tell me which aspect particularly of Donald Trump you're thinking of. I mean, I have never been bankrupt, so that's one difference.
Well, what do you
Keep going.
admire about his campaign? What do you like about him as a candidate?
I don't like anything about it.
Okay, but
So-
in what way would you say you are similar to Donald?
Well, I guess in the sense that I haven't joined an establishment party, that we are coming in here to push whoever the government of the day is, which will be an establishment party. I mean, let's face it, whether it's the Nats or whether it's Labor, you know, they've got track records of having run the operation of government over many, many decades. Who the hell am I to stand up and say we can do it better? I don't want to do that. I want to get the right policies in here to increase our well-being.
So you're running as the anti-politician, are you?
Well, I'm not a career politician, you know, so I don't need to be here. I'm here to see if we can get these policies in place, and if we can, then we'll move on to Chapter 2.
And those policies you talk about, can you give us a little bit of a hint of what they might be?
Well, I mean, well, I won't, and directly, but I mean, anybody who's followed me over the years and read any of the books and that knows the sort of, you know, stuff I go on about, which really is just giving everybody an opportunity to participate. I think that's your base. It's about recognising the value of unpaid work, for example. There's 1 million people in this place who work and don't get paid. This economy would collapse without that effort. And so I think that needs to be recognised better in our tax and welfare system, for example.
Earlier this year, you said Labor didn't have the balls to properly implement a universal basic income. Is that something that would be on the table?
Well, I'm not going to preempt it. I like the concept of a UBI, definitely. It's a question of what level you set it at and how you fund it. So unless you actually have how you're funding this transparent, then it's a pipe dream, isn't it?
Do you think the cat campaign will make things more difficult for you to get that privacy?
Quite the opposite, actually. I'm feeling quite proud of what we did with cats now. Have you seen the snip and chip or whatever it is down the road? So the whole cat thing really now is in the hands of the regional councils and the district councils to implement, you know. It's about having cats and wildlife compatible. It's not that hard.
Who do you want to vote for you? Like, who are you sort of
Well, I thought, yeah, that's a good question. I've thought about this in terms of, you know, because people say to me, well, what's the profile of the voter? And all I can say to you is anybody who cares about New Zealand as opposed to themselves, right? So that rules out the ACT Party.
And you're strong on emissions targets and climate change as well as the CAT campaign. Are
Yeah.
you sort of looking for that blue-green vote?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can categorise it. I think that, you know, I'm looking for a fairer society. I'm looking for an economy that actually powers even stronger. I mean, the Nats have done pretty well, I think, in terms of what's happened with, you know, just pure economic growth. But it does concern me the cost of that, which is this loss of affordability of housing and this persistent inequality.
Have you had any discussions with people in terms of finding potential candidates?
No, I haven't done any of that yet. The way I designed it is that the priority now is to get the policy in front of you and in front of New Zealand, to have you, you know, embrace it, rubbish it, whatever, critique it, and then hopefully out of the woodwork will come, you know, potential candidates and members. I just heard, actually, we only opened an hour ago, right, so we're nearly got 200 members already, so, you know, and I haven't told them anything yet, so.
Eric, talk about what will your policy be around housing and dealing with housing?
Well, I think I would like to see more capital in New Zealand flowing into businesses and creating jobs and incomes, and that capital and reducing our reliance on overseas capital to fund our current account. So you've got to ask yourself, well, where would that come from? And the obvious place is the overinvestment in housing. I mean, just ask this question, you know, why is it that Germany, one of the most well-performed economies in the last, 30 years, has still got the same house price to income ratio that we had back in the 70s and 80s?
Know that, so what will your policy?
Well, no, I'm not telling you the policies. That's December the 8th, that one will be released.
Gareth, a bit off topic, but as an owner of the Phoenix, do you still have faith in Ernie as a coach, and how long is the board giving him to turn things around?
Well, it would, yeah. that is off topic, but that's fine. Yes, the answer to the first is yes. Mind you, last time I said that about Ricky Herbert, you all then accused me of sending him down the laundry chute, so maybe I shouldn't say anything. But I think, the Phoenix remains a work in progress. I mean, the big problem with the Phoenix is that the deck is stacked against us. Every time New Zealand, the All Whites play, that guts our team. And so what does the FFA say to us? Well, why don't you hire more Australians? Get the New Zealanders out of your team. Problem. So yeah, work in progress.
Mr. Morgan, when it comes to treaty settlements and mining seats, what's your policies around that?
The question is treaty settlements, Maori seats. I'm on record as saying I don't agree long term with the principle of Maori seats. But I do agree with the fact we need Maori seats now. Reason? We are not honouring the treaty. So until we honour the treaty, we're not confident enough as a people to not have to have affirmative action, it's called, for Maori. So part of one of the policies we will be releasing, which is to do with national pride, is honouring the treaty. What does that actually comprise of? What does it mean? And what are the consequences for the legislative umbrella?
You said previously that you don't want to go into politics, you're not a political guy.
I'm not.
Why now have you gone in?
Well, it's just so easy, really. I mean, I've sort of worked on this stuff for so long, and you sort of sit back objectively and, I've got a reasonable amount of confidence I know what to do. And then I say, well, why the hell don't they do it? And it's this averaging issue, they all gravitate to the middle. They all, we mustn't take any risks with any of the voters. We might lose one to him. They all call each other names. I mean, it's just garbage, So if we can form a role that chivies them along to do progressive policy, then I'd be pretty happy with that.
Do you have any successful businessmen in the past, business people in the past who have sort of failed in politics? The political system didn't really work for them.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
Oh, anything could happen. I'm not predicting, whether I flame or whatever, but we're just going to give it a good honest go and just see what the people, if the people get behind us and say, yeah, this is worth giving a chance, well, we're in. If not, we're not. Okay. None found. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
It's like who the hell's phone's ringing?
Please. 16 minutes, gee.